Mono red versus mono red. Daretti scraps Savant versus the god Hazoret, the Fervent. And don't have a whole lot going on in that hand, so we're going to have to mulligan. And we get another superb hand. Always tend to get punished for mulligans on Magic Online. I find the number of times I've had to mulligan down the first hand and then draw no lands. And then I guarantee that from now on we'll draw nothing but lands for the next few turns, but we'll see what we do with that. We'll get into Mishra's Workshop and Commander Sphere. And then if we draw into any artifacts from now on, we'll have a great time casting them with Mishra's Workshop. Taps for 3 mana, but you can only cast artifacts with the mana it taps for. Very, very powerful land, but there's only a finite number of things you can do with it. And we will go over... I don't know if they're about to pass priority straight away or not. No, they're not. So, Hazoret the Fervent, indestructible haste 5/4 for 4 mana. It can't attack or block unless you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. And then you can pay 3 to discard a card, and it shocks something. Oh no, it shocks each opponent. So you don't have a choice there. Alhamret's Archive is about the best thing that we could have drawn into. So once we get Daretti in play, that thing is going to do a hell of a lot of work for us. Yeah, I'll get a Mountain into play just in case we get into Valakut. Valakut can do a lot of work for us. And our opponent has got down Abbot of Carol Keep, a 2/1 for 2 mana with Prowess. When it enters the battlefield, you can exile the top card of your library and play it until the end of the turn. And they get into a Sword of Fire and Ice, which is not good. Not good against a red deck, and not good against the deck that we want to keep, where we want to keep damage off Daretti. But in all fairness, although this is a red deck, it does hold a lot of colourless creatures. In fact, most of the creatures are colourless, so that sword might not necessarily do as much as we assume it is going to. Get down another artifact just to help our metal craft trigger. And then we can go and discard some cards here. I don't think we're going to get into Ugin this game, unfortunately. Well, might have to... Yeah, we're just going to have to aim for... Actually, that will... If they play a non-creature spell first, they can kill Daretti. They equip this thing with the sword, cast a non-creature spell, and then get this thing up to 5 power. Or they could just use some burn to kill Daretti outright. They might go for us and then just shock Daretti. They have a little bit of a dilemma here because the sword doesn't trigger if it... No. So they just go for 4 damage on Daretti. So we'll just have to hope they don't have any burn. They do get their own Valakut, which I've only just noticed, so that is completely relevant this game. We can go for the Worm Coil Engine there, I think. Yeah, I will get rid of the Gauntlet of Power and... Actually, no. Emerald's Disc and Anger. Yeah, that's better. We can go Sol Ring, Mountain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then get down Gauntlet of Power, and that will make our basics. Tap for an additional red, that is 7 mana that we have available to us. So we'll just go for the Worm Coil Engine, and that is quite a constructive turn. And even though Worm Coil Engine has haste, I'm not going to swing in with it. I'm just going to hold it back to keep the Abbot of Carol Keep in check. And Worm Coil Engine does a hell of a lot of work because it leaves creatures behind. It's a Death Touch lifelink, 6/6 for 6. Some call it the the artifact Colourless Titan. Whenever it dies, you create a 3/3 worm with lifelink and another one with death touch. And of course we can recur Worm Coil Engine quite regularly by sacrificing artifacts and bringing them back. I don't know if I've been over everything. Daretti is a Planeswalker commander, comes in with 3. You can tick him up by 2 loyalty, discard 2 cards, draw that many cards, and then -2 is sack an artifact, return an artifact from your graveyard to the battlefield. -10, you get an emblem. Whenever an artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return it to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. Our opponent gets into Mere Battlesphere, which is in this deck, and that is a really worrisome card to be seen because it can deal damage to us or to Daretti. I think does it have to deal it to us? You can tap. Whenever it attacks, you may tap X number of untapped mirrors. If you do, it deals X damage to a player or a planeswalker. Yeah, so they can deal damage to us without actually getting damage through. And the Mere Battlesphere, of course, makes it more of a potent threat. I think what we might do then is sacrifice the... We can sacrifice Worm Coil Engine with Daretti. Yeah, this doesn't feel great, but it does get Mere Battlesphere and our opponent's sword off the battlefield, so we can go to sacrifice these. In fact, I might as well get a card draw off of this if we're going to blow everything up. Chain Reaction actually is better. Yeah, Chain Reaction is better, so scratch that idea. I was going to sacrifice the Worm Coil Engine to get it in the graveyard, and then Scrap Mastery would bring back all our things from the graveyard. But silly me, it has protection from red, so perhaps we should have gone for that in the first place. Well, there's nothing to stop us from doing that. We can kill the... Yeah, we'll go for the Commander Sphere. This is really clunky. I should have done this differently, but we'll get that in the bin. Then we'll go for tap and sack again. Actually, we can leave one floating, can't we? No, we can't. No, we can't leave one floating. I was just thinking about swinging in with the lifelinker, but I think we just need to do this. Scrap Mastery our opponent. They will have to go for that. That went over to our opponent's side there. I thought I'd done something horribly wrong. That worried me. Alright, and then we can 1, 2... that's 3 mana. Do we want to do anything else? No. I think we just want to Combustible Gear Hulk. And see if our opponent wants to either mill us or give us 3 cards. They give us 3 cards off of that, so we can swing in with everything. And that is a lot of damage to our opponent. Yeah, so I managed to take control of the game there. Our opponent still does have 4 cards in hand after that Mountain's dropped. And they get into their own Nevinrel's Disc. That's probably why they're still playing the game, because they had that in hand, and their commander, of course, is indestructible, and it has haste, which I didn't realise, so that's pretty big mistake of mine. Oh, but it can't attack or block. Yeah, okay. I thought Daretti was done for there for a second with my misplay. I might actually... I might Blood Moon to get rid of that Valakut. Do I do that? I wonder. Well, we can get down the mountain anyway. And then Spine of Ishar will go to the Nevinrel's Disc. And we'll see if that forces a concession. I do, of course, not want to force concession, but I don't want my opponent to just do whatever they want with us. And we will be getting rid of their Nevinrail's disc. And we can swing in this turn as well for 13 damage, so that kind of does put us in contention for winning the game. So even if they did concede, I think we kind of have this game under control already. And they are paying costs to do something. Not sure what they can do in response. I don't think they can untap it at instant speed, but maybe they can. And they're just dealing 2 damage to each opponent, which is fine. Had me worried for a second, and I think we go for a tick up on Daretti. We'll get rid of Blasphemous Act, and I don't think Wheel of Fate's going to be fast enough this game. And then we can tap down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll get down the Paradox Engine. And then swing into our opponent and see if they get into anything else. The Paradox Engine with a lot of mana rocks, pretty much any deck can run it because of the colourless nature of things. They'll probably aim the Valakut at Daretti, they do. We could Blood Moon, and it would turn non-basics into mountains, and that would only get rid of their Valakut, but it would also get rid of Mishra's Workshop on our side. But yeah, anyway, the Paradox Engine is a legendary artifact for 5 mana, and whenever you cast a spell, untap all non-land permanents you control, and that can really help with your mana rocks. It tends to go well with, for instance, imagine tapping down all your mana rocks for mana in order to cast a mana rock, and then all the mana rocks that you just cast untap, and you can do that with some regularity. Yeah, we draw into our own Mere Battlesphere, so I think we can just do that and call this game quits. Oh, and yeah, I completely forgot that our opponent's only down to 4. I don't mean to mess around too much, so apologies to our opponent. Yeah, when I get wrapped up in commentary and explaining cards, I don't always see the most basic thing that's right in front of me. I would have just swung in there had it not have been for the fact that I'm a bit of an idiot sometimes. Yeah, just let all this resolve. I want to swing into my opponent, and I won't keep them any longer. I mean, I'm not trying to write them out of the game or anything. They might have something else to do, but we'll just go in with the Gear Hulk and the Worm Coil Engine and attempt to draw this game to a close. And see if they have anything here. They do have lots of mana off of their mountains because Gauntlet of Power affects all mountains on the field. And they might be doing something. They Chaos Warp the Worm Coil Engine. There's nothing we can do about that, so we just get another mountain. So that is the best Chaos Warp you could ever hope to go for. And then they declare a blocker. Yeah, they do have... Oh yeah, they went down to... Is it 2 or fewer? I don't play with this card often, unless you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. Right, okay, so I was assuming that wasn't going to be able to block, so good for our opponent. I was trying to rush out a win there. Should have gone with the Mere Battlesphere, but that would have been another trigger on the stack. And I didn't want to make fun of our opponent or anything like that. What I should have done was Chaos Warp their Hazoret away there. We'll go for, in that case... How much is Daretti nowadays? Okay, and another 2. Gets out Daretti again. And we need to take off auto yields with that thing because we could have tapped down for a little bit of mana there. And we go 1 from that. And then is there anything else that we want to get out here? We'll get out Hazoret's archive, mate. Actually, no. We'll just let our opponent keep the Valakut. And we'll see if we can get into anything else. We get into Coercive Portal. So we'll play that. And that will untap all our non-land permanents, which is only 1. And then pass over to our opponent. And hopefully they get into something good off the top of their deck. Yeah, so this is the type of thing that you can do with Daretti Scrap Savant. I think we've got a better start than our opponent, to be honest. We were lucky in that we could get rid of the Sword of Fire and Ice and the Mere Battle Sphere. Yeah, had it not have been for that, I think they would have dealt with us quite well, because Daretti doesn't like having damage dealt to it, but they clearly don't draw into anything else. Yeah, we could have ended it last turn with the Mere Battlesphere, but I didn't want to look like I was making fun of my opponent by playing out lots of cool stuff and just making them sit and watch me. So that was the reason behind that. Yeah, a little bit of a clunky win there towards the end, but that does show what Daretti Scrap Savant can do. So I hope you enjoyed watching that. Daretti is way more popular than I ever realised it would be. It was me just dipping my toe in the water with this deck that I've owned for years, and seeing if anyone would enjoy it, and it did really, really well. So it is in the rotation, and I will play it more regularly now that Guilds of Ravnica is over. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. I hope you enjoyed Daretti Scrap Savant. Thank you for watching.